Aloha, soul family. Welcome to our end of days, and that's DAZ. Uh, as usual, I just want to say it's raw, unedited footage. It is what it is. Uh, I just made a previous video. It was more spiritually focused. I'm going to try to jump back and forth. I also like doing social commentary. I think they're very much interwoven and interconnected, but doing a little bit of both. I like that. I like that. And so, as I've said in my previous videos, I'm homeless. All right. It's something that I'm unabashed about, especially nowadays. There's an intentional shame created around being homeless, and this is intentional as well. And I'm going to make commentary on this in a moment. Um, and this is also why the spiritual aspect is extremely interconnected with the social commentary aspect, at least for me. That in order to separate the two, we're only seeing half of the picture. Like, I cannot address the social issues without the spiritual side of things. And for me to try and address the spiritual side of things without also addressing the social aspect of things, it's an incomplete picture. And this is why I feel like they really go hand in hand. And so, one of the things that I want to really mention in this video is the state of society. And it shows how we're in a place of change. If I'm going to glaze it and be positive, we're in the beginning of a new system. If I'm going to be a little more dark, or not dark, but just potentially negative, I guess would be a way to phrase it. I don't think of it as negative per se, just a different view of things. But we're in a collapse. All right, we're in a society of spiritual death. All right. However, rather than us going into it, I feel like we're coming out of it. Yeah, it's a dark place that we're in, but things are getting better. And I can sense that things are getting better. And it could just be where I'm at. It could just be my own personal vibration and everything. And I recognize that as well. But I also see that this is happening collectively too. And me, if each of us is an energetic frequency that we're emitting something, all right, we're attuning to something, we're also, metaphorically speaking, it's like casting a vote. And so I'm voting for this change by being the change that I want to see in the universe, in the world. All right. All right. Confirmation beat. So we'll just kind of get into that, and so addressing the situation is extremely important. All right. Homelessness is such a huge deal. All right, and it's getting worse. All right, and I don't mean worse than per se. It's getting more prevalent, I guess is the best way to say it. I saw for myself that either I was going to like think about this, you guys. It's ridiculous. All right, during my grandfather's era, his one job could take care of like 2.1 kids, maybe 2 different cars, a house payment, a mortgage, support his wife. All right, there didn't need to be another person working. Imagine that lifestyle versus what we have now, where 2 people working, barely able to cover rent, probably still needing to be on food stamps. All right, and I know it's all different all over the world. I know the mainland's bad too, but in Hawaii, you guys, oh my god. Like fiscally talking about, if we're just talking about finances here, it makes sense to be homeless. All right, it just makes sense. You can work a job, you can do that, but you're going to save so much money not paying for a house. All right, and I need to take a step back from that. It's not even like you own the house. All right, you're not even paying for the house. So we're not even talking about a mortgage here. We're talking about renting. It's ridiculous. And this system right now is so apparently designed to be an enslaving type system, right? Um, and this is why it's only going to intensify. All right, there's layers to this as well. Uh, uh, Honestly, if I'm just going to kind of jump into it from my perspective, the reason that it's intensifying is because it wants to change. The system doesn't want to exist anymore. All right, this is we're done with it. The people who are in the system, they're done with it. All right, and it's going to intensify in a negative way. All right, and I'm going back to the spiritual side of things. All right, because they're interwoven. Excuse me. But Yeah, I said raw and unedited, guys. You have to just swing with me here. The for lack of a better word, the voice of God. The more that we listen to the voice of God, the more that we're guided and we allow ourselves to follow the guidance. All right, because it is a choice. It is a choice that we get to choose to follow or deny. And the irony about being a human being, if I'm going to be honest here, we just receive guidance. All right, there's no such thing as a void of guidance. So we can either listen to the voice of God, true authority. I said that maybe in another video, but true authority is authority which has the heart. All right, it has everybody's best intentions at heart. That is true authority. Um, that is the voice of God. That's the true authority because it is not just after my best intentions; it's after everyone's best intentions. Okay, it's after the well-being of everybody. All right, honoring also people's free will, honoring people's choice. I mean, it's so diverse and big. I can't even begin to talk. I can only begin to talk about it. All right, I can only begin to talk about it. And so the other aspect of this is if we deny that voice, another voice will take its place. And that is what the Christians would probably call the voice of the flesh, the voice of the devil. It is a voice which is a mockery and a cheap replica of the voice of God. All right, and it is what it is, you guys. When we deny the real thing, there's something else which is going to pop up in its place. And I feel like on a big societal level, we rejected the voice of God. Who knows how long ago, you guys? Maybe even before the time, probably before the time of Jesus, for sure. But it's been this long process of getting to this point where we can be spiritually reborn. All right, where society can be spiritually reborn. And so the deception had to go to quite a length in order to try to keep us here in a deception. All right, but that's just it. The deception itself is weak. It's very weak. It doesn't want to exist. It only exists because it feels like it has to exist. And so this is also why it's so important to take the proper steps, you guys. And so, kind of going back to the situation I mentioned in my other video as well today, um, it's it's important to follow the voice of God, even in the case of this situation. All right, and I mean this situation is in rent's really high. All right, what do I do? How do I, as an individual, say screw you, rent? I don't agree with everything being higher priced. We have the capability of housing everybody. All right, we have the capability of being able to house everyone. All right, nobody needs to be homeless. All right, that is a choice that's being made on a societal level, and it's that other voice. All right, not true authority. It's the other voice which is telling that since we've rejected the voice of God, we get to listen to the voice of, and I want to call it facsimile, but that's not even what it is, you guys. It's just the mockery voice. All right, it's just a cheap mockery, is what it is. And that voice, because it feels like it needs to exist, all right, that it's a survival thing, it will speak louder and louder and louder until as you stop listening to it, because it feels it's that resonance too, where it's just like, well, I'm gonna die. And this is how it's kept us trapped. All right, like all of us, this is how it's kept us trapped. And choosing to confront it head on, at least that was my path. That was the only way for me to get away from this. If I chose to keep listening to that voice, I'd keep making rent payments. I'd keep going in that direction. I would have done that on the mainland. I wouldn't have even come to Hawaii, you guys, if I would have listened to that voice. All right. And if I did, it would have been here to be a vacationer. I would have spent a whole bunch of money and went back and been like, okay, yeah, I don't want to live there. It's way too rough. Because it's rough here, you guys. I ain't gonna lie. All right, like, and I'm throwing that out here too. Do not come to Hawaii to be homeless. Okay, This is like the caveat there is just like if you're an extremely spiritually resilient person and you truly have the aloha spirit and you really want to help the islands, please come. Okay, yes, please come. With that said, if you're here of any other spirit, you're going to have the hardest time ever. And even if you are of the aloha spirit, you will be tested. Okay, just like I've been tested, you guys. Okay, and might still continue to be tested. We'll have to see. I mean, look at me, you guys. I'm of the spirit for sure. But look at the color of my skin, you guys. I'm just throwing that out there, which is okay. It is what it is. I get it. Which is also why even being here as part of the islands, as I call it like an immigrant resident, I understand that I'm a guest here. All right, and I treat this area and this place with the utmost respect. And I would hope that anybody who comes here does the same thing, no matter where they go. Crap, man. Like, no matter where you're going, treat that area with respect. Treat nature with respect. All right? This is what following the voice of God is, you guys. To me, it's just so black and white. I was going to say it's very cut and dry. All right? Um, there's no middle ground in this kind of a situation. And as I always say, guys, there's only one absolute. Okay, I say that on my channel a lot, but I mean that to kind of allow room for growth and recognition, I guess is the best way to say it. So, getting back on track here, following the cheap mockery voice, it is what keeps us trapped. And as I was saying before, it would have kept me trapped in a position and in a situation where it's like family members and friends and other people that I've had to let go of because they're stuck in there, and they're in a mindset in a place which is very negative, very negative. They're suffering health problems. They're going through a lot of different things, and here I am, all right, making what would be considered extremely dangerous choices in some ways, all right, but I'm super healthy. All right, I'm of probably the best health I've ever been in. Mental health, physical health, spiritual health, than I've ever been in my life. All right, and it's been work. All right, and I keep confronting things, and it's a part of a process that I'm willing to go through. But I have made enough progress, and I have enough discernment to now feel it, where it's just like no matter what physically gets thrown at me, I'm on the path, you guys. I'm totally on the path. And I know that other people are on the path too. We're all meant for this path, and that's also something that I want to say as well. Is that anybody can do this? All right, we all gotta work with where we're coming from. Okay, I'm not saying to do what I did per se. All right, because I let go of a lot, but I was in positions where I had to, more or less. God put me in positions where it's just like, let me know, and he's like, all right, which voice are you gonna listen to? There's no middle ground here. And I needed that for me. I needed that, but I'm glad. I'm super glad. I needed something that was that stark for me to really make a decision about. If there had been any kind of grayish, middle groundish area, I would have chosen that. I just know myself. I just know myself much too much, and so God made it very apparent where it's just like, all right, who do you listen to? Do you really care about other people? Do you care about yourself? Because both sides of that issue will play. All right. Back on the social commentary aspect too, and related to this is the religious aspect, where invalidating others will prop oneself up, and so that's a false paradigm. But also invalidating oneself to validate others is also a false paradigm, and much mainstream religion has done that, where it is to invalidate yourself as an individual, to not trust your discernment, to not listen to the voice of God, but to listen to that fearful mockery voice. And then that keeps us trapped in the same systems. We keep paying rent, we keep doing the same things, keep showing up for that job we hate. All right. We don't need to do that anymore. If anything, this is what my videos is about. All right, is that hey, at least for me, I've walked away from that. Yeah, I'm still finding jobs, I'm still working, but the degree of demand on those jobs is so much less because I don't have to make the freaking rent payments, you guys. It is such a greater freedom that I get to have because I do not have the demands of, oh my God, I'm going to be homeless unless I work 60 hours a week, which is what it used to be for me. All right. I used to have jobs that were like that. And it was destroying me. It was destroying my mental health. All right. It was destroying my emotional, spiritual health. And I tried to be as strong as I could, have the right perception about it, spin it in the ways that I could. But God kept talking to me. The voice of God kept talking to me through my heart. All right, the God speaks to us through our heart. The voice of God isn't some mental voice. It's a resonance in the heart. Okay, and so this ended up being a more spiritual kind of conversation. Anyway, I'm trying to keep these under 15 minutes now because I like to go on and on and on. Right, 15:51 on the clock here. So we'll wrap it up. This is what I mean. Yeah, society's in a crazy place right now. Things are getting better, but until we start listening to the voice of God, things are going to continue to get worse in order to give us that choice, to give us that stark contrast to see what is important. All right. And this voice of God is beyond religion. All right. This voice of God is beyond religion. And I want to repeat that for the very sake. Okay. Religion might be helpful for some people. I have been going to a church congregation. I'm dialing back a little bit. I was very heavily invested into it, but I also see, at least this is what I'm being shown. The voice of God is telling me not to leave per se, but to dial it back. All right. People are at where they're at, and not everybody is ready to jump into the situation that I find myself in, even though it's exactly what I need. And just this is why my channel is so important and why I'm going to keep making videos, is that what we need, in my opinion, all right, I'm trying to keep this under 20 minutes at least for this one. What we need, all right, are people who have chosen to be homeless. Good, quality, responsible people to choose to be homeless. That is what we need, all right? Because when we have that infrastructure on a homeless level, all right, we can take care of one another. We can trust one another, all right? If the only homeless people are addicts, people who are involved in listening to the mockery voice, who hate other people, who steal from other people, nothing's going to get better, all right? If anything, those people are part of the same structure, all right, as the people who are paying the rent, okay? They're just two sides of the same coin. Just like I want to say there can be people who quote unquote own property, who have a job and everything. You can still be a good person, okay? This was just my path. This was just my path. I needed this path, okay? And if you're helping other people truly, then it will be apparent, okay? As long as you're listening to the voice of God, okay? That's basically what I'm saying. So we'll keep it at that, you guys. Things are getting better, okay? Things are getting better. Like, listen to my resonance, feel this, all right? And with that qualifying, it's going to get worse until it gets better for individuals, okay? And so we get what we need, all right? We get what we need. And I want to show you, at least for my channel, for myself, and for everything, it does get better, okay? Yes, in physical circumstances, I'm looking in crazy circumstances, but I feel good. I feel peace. I know that things are working out, and I keep having things work out in my favor. And it's because of me listening to God, all right? By any other name, the one absolute, the source, the universe, there's so many, like, it's beyond, it's so many names, okay? That's the best way to put it. It's not nameless, it just has so many names. Okay, and maybe I'll show you guys here. It's beautiful. It was raining earlier, but now it's just kind of cleared up. I hope you guys got to see it. I obviously I didn't get to see it, so, but I'm looking at it right now. And so just remember, guys, we're given beauty the more that we choose beauty. All right, we're given peace when we choose peace. All right, even in the face of fear, especially in the face of fear. Okay, don't listen to that voice of mockery. Listen to the voice of God. All right, peace out. Love within. Catch you on the flip.